stay with that story, however, just to get some perspective on what's really happening. We're joined by ANC veteran Omry Makgoale. Dr. Omry, good evening to you. Thanks for your time. So, of course, the problems that we're looking at in the Free State, deep-rooted. It's one of two provinces that had not held, at least up until this weekend, its provincial conference before what is the elective conference next month. What do you make of how things have unfolded this weekend?
I think it's just a reflection of the chaos inside the ANC, the crisis inside the ANC, the after effect of the capture of ANC in that province. And these two parallel conferences in the same area, it's a reflection of the factions. It's the factions. Both those factions are not really in the interest of ANC. They are looking at who must benefit in the future, who must access state power in that area, who must access resources, and so that who's going to be in charge of all the budgets and for themselves. But the ANC doesn't really benefit out of this. And so it's unfortunate that the ANC continues to operate that way in Free State. And I can assure you that until we change how we elect leaders inside the ANC, the crisis will remain. And as we see, it's credentials everywhere, fake conferences, fake delegates. The problem continues in the Free State area.
The reason why these conferences have ended up playing themselves out in the way they have is because the faction that, of course, lost its court bid on Friday had been arguing that the credentials of branches were not intact and that there was fraud committed and that people who had been given verification for the conference, some in fact were not even alive. That's a big problem around branches in the ANC.
Yeah, it's normal. It's normal to have to have people who are dead in ANC, a list of BGMs and so on. This is why now we have to scrutinize even the BGMs attendance register, because they've known in the past that they put people who are no longer alive, who are deceased, as attending meetings to make up for the quorums, fake quorum. But basically, the key issue here is factions, and these factions are all not in the interest of ANC. They are just thinking of themselves so that they get access and then they can loot the state. But none of them is really interested in the well-being of the ANC. And so it's disappointing, but that's how the ANC is now at the moment.
How then does one deal with the question of legitimacy? Because ultimately, the results of whatever comes out of this weekend's conference have to be accepted as being legitimate, not only within the ANC structures, but also to the members of the ANC in the Free State.
It's crisis, Katie. It's crisis, and it means that after these conferences, one of these factions will go to court and protest against the leadership of the other faction that is not illegitimate. So it's like, but you see, the ANC can't run conferences through courts all the time. And this is why we need to change how we elect leaders, so that we allow all ANC members the opportunity to directly elect their leaders, not these branch delegates. And that these branch delegates will always have fake delegates, and accreditation people will have them all the time. But after this, I can assure you, one of these conference winners will go to court to challenge the other as not being legitimate.
This conference, of course, has been put together under the interim provincial committee that was brought in to try and save the state of the ANC in the province. The fact that this is playing itself out in the way that we've seen this weekend, does it speak to a failure of that IPC? And most importantly, the role of Lutulia House. We've known that things in the Free State have been on shaky ground for some time. There has been attempts to try and bring some sort of intervention, but clearly not enough was done.
Yes, not enough was done, and the current IPC in the Free State is not really done well because it was part of the slate battles during Makgoale's time. So basically, it's a continuation of the battles of the slate started during Makgoale's time, and the Lutulia House, of course, is divided on this because of the factions also in the Lutulia House. And in the NEC also, the NEC is divided on this faction line. So it's not really a normal ANC that you are witnessing, Katie. And I believe that until we change how we elect leaders, we cannot have a stable ANC, whether it's in the Free State or Western Cape or any other province, even nationally. We'll continue to have these factions that are interested in looting the state rather than, the interest of the people of South Africa.
So in your view, how does this translate then into conference that's underway in literally the next 3 weeks?
I think maybe Comrade Khalim Mtlante will see together with some NEC members what they do out of this, because you can't have both these conferences sending their delegates to the national conference, because they are parallel structures. So as to how it's going to be handled, it's another problem. And those that are not included, as I say, will go to court to protest against those that are included. So you have this confusion through and through, and it cannot be sorted out through court. ANC should not be sorted out through court. There are problems. That's why we need to change how we elect leaders. Until we do that, unfortunately, the ANC is as fractured and factionalized as it can be.
I mean,
it's disappointing for some of them.
Do you see this ultimately resulting in breakaways from the ANC, so that these individuals who are disgruntled and who seem aligned to particular factions may end up walking away from the party?
I think very few will walk away from the party. Very few.
Okay.
There will be some who might, like COPE did some time ago, like EFF did some time ago, but very few will walk out, because most of them outside the ANC, they are vulnerable, they are weak, and so this is why they need the brand ANC to be in a position to access the state. So very few will actually form a parallel organization. But you will have one or two, of course, leaving ANC and joining other parties. But I don't expect a mass group to leave the ANC out of the Free State.
All right, let's leave it there for tonight. ANC veteran Omry Makgoale, thanks for your time.